Good morning, everyone. Uh, I've been working on a couple of things, getting everything ready to, upgrade a little bit of production value here and everything. Also, I should, as long as everything works out, be broadcasting on YouTube live as we speak, and I'll be um, putting out information on YouTube simultaneously from uh, as I'm putting things out on Facebook as well when it comes to live videos. So, uh, as long as everything goes smoothly this morning, this is going to be a test um, to see how well this goes. Uh, do have some good news this morning. As I was seeing things weaken, in my judgment, the models are starting to reflect that now. Uh, I'm going to go ahead and walk through it. I have 6 a.m. right, you know, 25 minutes ago shown on the high resolution rapid refresh model right now. Uh, and, it's kind of matching things fairly well. It's still showing a little bit stronger back here than what's actually occurring. I'm not too concerned with that because what we're seeing now is as we step forward in this model, we are seeing that weakening, this becoming more just rain, not organized storms as we go throughout the morning. So this is 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Central Time. And as we progress through this morning, we have some possibly stronger rain here in the Chickamauga, Lafayette areas in between. But I'm not planning on that being, an organized storm. I'll keep an eye on it just to make sure, but it's not something I'm too worried about. As we step forward, we see that rain continuing to progress down through Calhoun, the heavier rainfall, maybe a little bit of heavier rain right here. The line between Bradley County and Polk County. And you see everything kind of makes its way through without much issue, comes through pretty weak. So looking later on in the day, you see, I don't know if you were on, when I was on earlier around 3 a.m., there was a tornado watch that was in this section of Tennessee up here that has since expired. This is now the area that we have current tornado watches in. Uh, I'll go ahead and say that for Tennessee, we're not seeing any real organized threats throughout the rest of the day. We still have a couple of hours waiting to load in this model. This model's still loading, but let's step back to about 1 o'clock. All right, so I want to focus down here around, Alabama and Georgia. So we see some possibility of some storms forming down around Gadsden, Alabama, Cedartown, Rockmart, Georgia. The rain's going to continue to progress through, but around 2 p.m., we start seeing what appears to be some more organized storms from really, I'm looking at Rome, Georgia, down to Cave Springs, Piedmont, kind of that area. And that's going to kind of pop up and relax. And then we've got another line forming here between Tunnel Hill, going down through Dalton, Summerville, Menlo. Mentone and Menlo are right there next to each other. Galesville, Cedar Bluff, Collinsville, Alabama, that area. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Then we see another couple of storm cells form. I see one pop up here around Hamilton County, Bradley County. I'm not too worried about that one, but we're going to keep an eye. Again, this is a model, so this doesn't exactly say what's going to happen where. It's an estimate. But we do see some other storms forming around, Tennessee, Alabama line, maybe pushing its way across to Dalton. That other formation of storm around Collegedale, Appleton area looks like it's going to drop a little bit further south, and they're going to continue to work their way across over a couple of hours. You can see they're kind of getting weaker. Hold on, hopefully we can get another. Okay, so we still have another couple of hours loading in the model, but what I wanted to show is, we've got a very different scenario from what it was displaying earlier. For Tennessee, I don't think that you're going to have anything you really need to worry about. Most likely throughout the day, but possibly into this evening. We're going to keep an eye on those storms that were kind of forming near the Tennessee line around 5 p.m. So we'll keep an eye on that. Down here in Georgia, I'd say about 1 p.m. is really when we're going to, start opening up our focus. These counties more towards the south end of where I cover. I'm going to keep an eye on that. So again, Rome, Cave Springs, that area down into Alabama, kind of around Center, Cedar Bluff, Rock Run. And so again, that's 2 p.m. And then we see storms kind of form and make their way through. So I would say from about 2 p.m., plan on storms in this section of Georgia and Alabama, and we're still not loading. As far as threats, we really are looking at mainly, storms forming, creating some strong gusts, and that heavy rain. Still not seeing a whole lot of the components that we need for tornado formation. If in the rare random chance we do have one pop up in that area, it should be weak and very short lived. But I really don't think that's a hazard we need to worry about. I would say, if you're within these areas in the tornado watch, keep an eye on it. And I'm going to continue to keep an eye on it throughout the day. But yeah, not a whole lot of additional information, more so the fact that Tennessee is going to be primarily rain, maybe with a evening storm or two. Georgia and Alabama, keep your eyes open around 1 p.m. with storms starting up around 2 p.m. and that's Eastern time. So if you're in Alabama, that's going to be around noon. Keep an eye open, and then storms making their way into the area around 1 p.m. If I see any changes in timing or conditions, I'll continue to update throughout the day. I know a lot of you who are familiar with me know that normally on Sundays I get some sleep from when I get home from church until about 4 p.m., but I've got a different schedule this week. So throughout the week, I'll actually be awake during the day. So I'll try to get to any questions that come up. I'll definitely be updating frequently as I can. Looking on the comments here, not really seeing a whole lot of comments. More thank yous and good mornings. I'm glad to have you here. seems like things are running well on YouTube. Got a whole 10 viewers on YouTube. You know, as you know, you send me donations, you know, as thanks for what I do and things like that. But I really try to take that money that you send me and I put it back into my efforts. You know, it gives me the ability to do things more easily, more professionally, um, more efficiently. And that takes a little bit of stress off of me. So don't think I'm, you know, taking your thanks and just pouring it back into work. I'm not. You know, it really does. It makes me happier that I'm able to do things better, more productively. Got a question about Hickson. Yeah, the state of Tennessee has really dropped significantly in threat today. Don't really think there's going to be many hazards. It's mainly going to be rain. Keep an eye on like areas that have flash flooding. I'm going to stick around on here a little bit longer to see if we have any other questions pop up, anything of concern. It does not look like my chat is working on YouTube, so that's something I'm going to have to investigate and see what all I need to do to get that working correctly. Like I said, you know, that's part of this morning was to give you the information, but also to run a little test to see how everything goes. Uh, if you're just joining, if you look in the description of this post, I have posted the link to where I will now additionally be streaming on YouTube whenever I go live with Facebook. Hopefully this will allow us to be able to get some information out to people. You know, a larger audience so I can help more people without having to do much more additional work. I can focus on actually looking at the storms. But yeah, you can go on YouTube. You can check out Engle Weather Service on there. So, Chickamauga, Georgia. So yeah, let's zoom into Chickamauga, Georgia. Have a question about Chickamauga. Step through the HRRR. So it looks like, again, that area you're going to see a little bit heavy rain around 10 a.m. But I don't think that's really going to produce like a storm. And then, you know, around 2, when things are getting a little bit stronger to the south, Chickamauga's pretty good. We have, looks like, a line starting to organize further back in Alabama. And over the course from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., that line's going to organize and come across. So I'd say about 2:45, you'll probably have a storm roll through Chickamauga, Fort Oglethorpe, Lafayette. Of course, you can see where this is located around 3 p.m. Or, you know, Tryon, Somerville, Lyerly, Menlo, Galesville, Collinsville, Leesburg, Center, Cedar Bluff, those areas. And then stepping forward, you know, depending on how this forms for Chickamauga, but I'd say maybe around 4:30, 4:45, you may have an increase in some storm possibility in Chickamauga as well. And it looks like this model's not wanting to load the rest of the way, so I'll go ahead and read the tornado watch, just so you know what it says. This was the one that was issued this morning, 3:45 this morning. It's valid until 11 a.m. I know it says 10 a.m., but it's Central Time, so it's valid until 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It does say a couple of tornadoes possible, scattered damaging wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour possible. Thunderstorms continue to gradually move southeastward across the southern or southeast states. Low-level wind fields remain strong, supporting the potential for damaging gusts and line-embedded tornadoes. Additionally, there is also some chance for a few storms ahead of the main line. Environmental conditions suggest that any persistent discrete storms could become supercellular and capable of producing damaging gusts and tornadoes. Tornado watches. Oh, okay. So you can disregard this last part right here because this is pertaining to the storms that were present when this was issued. So don't really need to worry about that. And I will say that it's pertinent information that when this watch was issued, there was a much different picture coming out from some of the models. And so I expect that to be much less than what it's stating. So that's pretty much the story. I hope everybody has a great Sunday and great morning. I will be on the road later today, so if anything does pop up, and I'm driving, I'll pull off to the side from my phone. So I hope everybody has a great day, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off of here. We'll see you soon.